My toxic mother-in-law tried to publicly humiliate my career in front of her rich friends, so I hijacked her entire dinner party and completely destroyed her ego. I have been married to my husband Chris for about 3 years, and for 3 years his mother Brenda has made it her absolute life's mission to belittle what I do. I am a certified sommelier, and I manage a highly successful upscale wine program in the city. But Brenda loves to tell her wealthy country club friends that I am just going through a fun little bartending phase. It is always these tiny, passive-aggressive jabs. Like last Thanksgiving when I offered to pour a beautiful aged Pinot Noir, and she literally covered her glass with her hand and said, "Oh no thanks, sweetie. We prefer real wine in this house," before pouring herself a massive glass of cheap boxed zinfandel. Chris is a great guy, but he has this terrible habit of just staring at his shoes whenever his mom makes a scene. Well, the real breaking point happened just last month. Brenda was hosting her massive annual holiday dinner for the entire extended family. She called me up, sounding incredibly sweet, and said, "Hey, since you work at that little restaurant downtown, could you just grab a couple of those cheap twist-off bottles from the grocery store? We just need some filler drinks for the table. Don't worry about bringing anything nice. Nobody really cares about your fancy juice anyway." I hung up the phone and my blood was just boiling. I sat on the edge of my bed staring at the wall and it hit me. This wasn't just a casual request for cheap drinks. She wanted me to show up with gas station bottles so she could parade me around the rich aunts and uncles as the tacky, unrefined daughter-in-law. She was setting a trap, disguising a direct insult as a simple favor. And I realized right then, if I kept playing along just to keep the peace, she was never, ever going to respect me. So I didn't go to the grocery store. I went straight into my personal temperature-controlled cellar. I pulled a vintage Grand Cru champagne, an incredibly rare Bordeaux, and a 20-year-old dessert wine. When we arrived at Brenda's house, she saw my velvet wine bags and immediately reached out whispering, "I'll just hide these in the kitchen until later." I pulled them back, looked her dead in the eyes, and said, "Actually, Brenda, I am doing a guided 4-course tasting for the table tonight." Her eyes went wide and she hissed, "We already have drinks." I just smiled and said, "Well, now we have options." When dinner started, I stood up and commanded the room. I poured the champagne, explained the tasting notes, and the entire family was mesmerized. Chris's rich uncle literally begged for my business card. Brenda's boxed wine sat completely untouched on the counter all night long. On the quiet drive home, the car was completely silent. Finally, Chris looked over at me, sighed, and said, "Wow, I never realized how much she was trying to put you down until I saw her face tonight." Brenda hasn't called us in over 3 weeks. The family group chat is incredibly tense. The silence is heavy, but honestly, every time I look at my wine cellar, I just smile.